So here's the right side of the suspension, which looks pretty good to be fair. It could do with a little cleanup, which we can get to, but the most expensive part is this strut and spring, and it's a little bit different on McLarens to what it's usually like on normal cars. Here is the price of a second-hand suspension unit, £3,800. Yes, it's off a 675 LT, but it's all the same, but they are really difficult to find. I know I was going to have to replace one side because, well, that's the remaining of it, but both sides not so much. But now I know I need to replace both sides. This left hand side suspension strut and spring, I don't know if you can see on camera, but let's go around the back here. You can see how much it's bowing when it's sort of going up, which is just not good. That is definitely bent. And to make things worse, when I went to the breaker's yard to get some parts, I picked up the suspension unit, the only side they had, which was on a non-damaged side, which was this one, and this cost me £1,700. And it looks like this one is quite difficult to tell on camera, but I think this one is also bent. They must just bend really easily. And all of this suspension has to be set up by McLaren themselves. But what exactly makes it so special? Here is my drawing that I did of the 720S suspension. Let me try and explain it. Let's imagine this is the rear suspension. Now there's hydraulic fluid in both of the dampers. The bottom fluid of the left hand side damper links up to the top of the fluid in the right hand side damper, and the fluid in up here links down here into the right hand side damper. Let's say the McLaren goes around the left hand corner. That means the wheel on the right hand side is going to be pushing up because it's fully loaded down. So all of the force will be going upwards through this damper here. So now all this fluid is high pressure, so it's going to be pushing this fluid out through the top and in through the bottom. Now naturally, when you're going around the left hand corner, this wheel is going to want to go up and this wheel is going to want to come down. The cars have the most grip when both wheels are planted on the floor. So all this high pressure fluid up here is going to be pumped here to keep this wheel nice and flat and level with the car. Now what McLaren have done to make it even cleverer than that is add these electrical things here that are on every single damper, and what these are valves. Those electrical valves, which are here, here, here and here, control the flow of the fluid. So when you're in comfort mode, it will open the valve up, allowing more fluid to flow within the damper, creating a more softer ride. And when you're in sport mode, it will close the valve up, allowing minimum flow in the dampers, keeping it nice and stiff and flat when you're on the track. Pretty clever. Yes, it is pretty clever, but it makes it difficult for people like us who are trying to work on the car. Not only are the rear suspension linked together, but also the front suspension is linked to the rear by these huge lines which connect it from front to back, all to keep the car as level as possible. Now the reason why I have to take it to McLaren to set up, because when I start putting all these lines on, I'm going to have to start filling up the whole system with fluid, which is done at the front of the car. But the thing is, you imagine I get any air in the system, then the suspension is not going to work as well. This high pressure is going to be trying to compress air, which is going to be spongy. The suspension is not going to feel as good. So effectively, you need to bleed it. And of course, to bleed the system, it's electronically done, which requires a special McLaren tool. So I guess I need to carry on assembling this suspension whilst you guys can think about how good my drawing was. So now we've learned how the suspension works, we should be able to assemble it pretty easy. In goes the hydraulic line into the top of the left-hand side suspension. That then tees off to the bottom here, which connects it to the front of the suspension and goes round the back and connects to the bottom of the right-hand side suspension.